welcome to Wicked West Books. My name is Meg West, and I read 15 books during the month of October. This is by far my best reading month of the year, and it's really great because I have to read 5 more books by the end of the year to reach my 80 book goal for the year. So without this month being this high, I would have never gotten there, because I don't read a lot during November because of NaNoWriMo. Anyway, let's get into the books that I read in October. So the first book that I finished during the month of October was Delirium by Lauren Oliver. Lauren Oliver came to Oklahoma and did a book signing at the very beginning of the month, and I wanted to read some of her books so that I would be able to, talk about them maybe with her when she was here. And I had read Panic before and didn't like it at all, so I was trying to find something that would be more of common ground, so I read Delirium, it came out I think 6 years ago, and it has essentially every dystopian cliche that you can possibly have. Female main character, grows up in society and believes in it, meets a boy who changes her mind. I listened to the audiobook on this, and there was a full 20 minutes dedicated to this main character's first kiss. And I absolutely feel no need to continue on in the series because I can practically predict for you what's going to happen in it. So since that was 2 for 2 that I did not like by Lauren Oliver, and I was still planning on going to her book signing, I got from my friend Replica by Lauren Oliver. This is the book where if you read it this way, you get Lyra's story, and when you flip it over, you get Gemma's story. Her name is Lyra, but I've pronounced it Lyra for as long as I've read The Golden Compass, so I'm just gonna keep calling her Lyra instead of Lyra. And basically, this is kind of a slightly futuristic world in which replicas or clones have started being made, and it follows the life of Lyra, who is a replica, and Gemma, who is not. Or are they? Basically, it was a very cool writing style, and I did actually enjoy this book. Going to be my favorite anytime soon, but I did like it enough that while I was at that book signing, I bought Ringer and got them signed. And I am planning on picking up Ringer fairly soon to find out what the next installment in this adventure is. After that, it was my husband's choice for book of the month, and he chose Monster Hunter Grunge by Larry Correia and John Ringo. This follows a new guy who I haven't met before in his adventures through the Monster Hunter universe. His name is Chad, and he was literally chosen by God to fight monsters. In it, he dies for a while, and God tells him the sign is 57. So Chad starts looking at ketchup bottles. This is the first book in a 3 or 4 book series that is still being worked on following the character Chad, and it is set in the past from the Monster Hunters International series, so Chad is already dead by the point that you start picking up the first book in the series, so it won't spoil anything for the new books for you. There were a few books between that and this one, but I'm going to go over them all kind of at the end of the video since they're part of a series, and I'm going to just put them together. So one of the next books I read was A Short History of the Girl Next Door by Jared Reck. This is the Booksplosion book of the month, and it is a contemporary novel, and it follows a boy named Matt who is in love with his next door neighbor, and just kind of things don't go well for Matt. She starts dating someone else, and he's trying to be patient and wait for her to figure out that he's in love with her so that she can come back, and it doesn't really work out the way Matt planned. I was not overly impressed with this book, mostly because I'm not a big fan of contemporary, and I found it very hard to relate to the main character, who is a teenage boy who is sports obsessed, and I am none of those 3 things, so found it a little hard to relate to him. It's not a bad story, it's just not one that I would have picked up for myself. Then I read these 2 books, one right after the other, and it finished out the series for me, and I've been recommending it the past few weeks. I'm still recommending it now that I've finished the series, and that series is Codex Alera by Jem Butcher. I read Princeps Fury and First Lord's Fury. These are the final 2 books in the series, and it was really a great way to end the series, and I'm very happy with where it turned out. I would love to have more after this, so if Jem Butcher wants to write more in the series, we will definitely be picking it up, because I have fallen in love with the characters in this book, and just to see what else mischief they can get into now that the world is finally safe would be a pretty amazing thing to see and read on with. The only other book I read that is not in the series that I almost read completely this month is The Book of Dust by Philip Pullman. I was not as in love with this book as I expected to be, and it's kind of disappointing to me. I absolutely love the Golden Compass series, and I absolutely love the main character here. I loved Malcolm in this book. The problem is kind of the plotline. In the Golden Compass, you can see that there is a lot of science fiction, a lot of true science that is put into these books to really make it a believable kind of world and a lot of world building. This really dipped into fantasy more than science fiction, and I didn't like that so much because I keep looking at everything these kids are seeing and I think, is it just their imagination? But Lyra was the same age in her books and it just wasn't the same. I'm still really looking forward to the rest of the series because I do absolutely love Malcolm and I would love to see where it goes. It's just, this one just really kind of sticks out like a sore thumb to me for the series because of its more fantasy elements instead of science fiction elements disguised as fantasy. This is pure fantasy, so we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I absolutely love Malcolm. Just kind of iffy on the whole actually seeing fairies and going to different worlds and seeing giants, and there were some unbelievable things in here that I didn't like as much. And then, in this order, and kind of mixed in with these last few books, I read Rivermarked by Patricia Briggs. This is book 6 in the series. Frostburn by Patricia Briggs. This is book 7. Nightbroken by Patricia Briggs. This is book 8. Fire Touch by Patricia Briggs. This is book 9. Moon Called by Patricia Briggs. This is book 1. Then I read Bloodbound by Patricia Briggs, which is book 2, which Heather is currently borrowing, so I don't have it to hold. Shifting Shadows by Patricia Briggs. This is a bind up of lots of different short stories that take place before book 1 all the way to, I think it's between Frostburned and Nightbroken is where the oldest or the newest story in these takes place. And then I read Silverborn, which is book 5 in the series. I read them in that order. It was a little bit hectic, but I needed to do some research for my nano fanfiction, so I put myself back in the world. I have no regrets. This is another series that I highly, highly recommend you read, and it's a great introduction into adult urban fantasy if you would like to have one. So, again, highly recommend, and I'm writing a fanfiction over it, which I am already behind. We're 2 days in, and I am behind. So yeah, altogether that makes 15 books read this last month, and I could have tried for a 16th, but I watched Stranger Things with my husband instead. No regrets on that one either. What was your favorite book that you read this month? Was it something spooky? I could use with a few more spooky reads. Comment down below your scariest read of October. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. I post videos every Thursday or else I lose books. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wicked day.